I share something in this fourth conversation with Özlem that I I wondered if I should, and I chose to do so. That opened up a conversation for us of life force, of the sexual energy, of the erotic, of lust, of taking the invitation to dance with whatever comes knocking on the door. And then we speak a lot about dancing, actual dancing as well. So I hope that you enjoy this conversation where we open up for that part of human life, the sensual and sexual life, or part of life that is so vital because, truth be told, without it, I wouldn't be here and neither would you. So there's that. It is life force. So enjoy. Hello.
Hello, Helena.
It was a long time since we talked.
It was, wasn't it?
I think it's like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, almost. I think it was the beginning of, or the first or second week of July. So yeah, because it's September 1st. Does that mean that it's kind of officially autumn? Is September, October, November, those are the fall months, right?
Yeah, that's what I learned in school it was, but I don't know if it is. It's quite nice weather, so I don't know.
Yeah.
When you start putting on jackets, I think that's when autumn is here.
Yeah. I'm not there yet. Are you there yet?
You know, I had
No.
a, I had a hoodie when I went for a walk this morning, and it was chilly, but not in the way that it was autumn yet.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's when the trees get like orange leaves.
But that's like real autumn. That's when it's full blown. I mean, there's a starting point into it, I think. But
Yeah,
the fall equinox is on September 22nd, at least for those of us on this hemisphere.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I have another question though. When is it morning and when is it night? And when is it evening?
mm,
Similar kind of a question. It's a
yeah.
definition question.
Is it like night after 10?
I don't
Is
know.
it
Depends.
evening between
I think it
6 and
depends on
10?
maybe it depends on what where in the life cycle you are also.
Mm,
If you're a parent with toddlers, then I guess night is like at 9 o'clock. No. If you're like
yeah.
in the early 20s, maybe night is at 12 o'clock or
Yeah.
midnight. Ah,
But I
but it's
wonder if are there official like definitions of it is when the sun sets at this point in space and time and place? Like, is that, I mean,
I do not know. I just
I don't
thought
know
it's
either.
it's an interesting question where I never get a clear answer on. I thought
And
about myself, but uh, there's other things to worry about than when.
yeah.
But I couldn't help myself by asking. So maybe you have a good perspective on it, but
No,
no, you didn't
no,
either. So yeah,
no. I
I
have the
will I
same as
will
everybody else.
I will continue my search to find some wise person who can answer that question in a really really good way. I don't know
Yeah.
if there is one out there, but maybe some of the people are listening. Maybe they have some ideas later on. They can write in the comments. I don't know. Perhaps.
And then there's in Swedish we have förmiddag and eftermiddag.
Yeah.
And eftermiddag is afternoon,
Yeah.
but förmiddag, I don't know that there is one for pre-noon. You don't say that, but
No,
that's what it says. It says pre-noon and afternoon.
the
Förmiddag, eftermiddag.
the closest I get to in English is maybe like brunch.
Yeah, which is an eating activity, right? Uh, but it's interesting because förmiddag and eftermiddag are so commonly used terms in Swedish.
Yeah. I'll,
And then you kind of say in the morning, meaning in the morning in English is pre-noon. But
yeah.
morning is like early morning. So that's an interesting. I mean, everybody says that English has, this huge vocabulary and everything, and it does, at least compared to Swedish, but there are some words
Yeah.
that, it's like I don't know what the proper word for that is, if there even is one.
Well, another thing, we use weeks a lot. Maybe in week
Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
I wish we didn't because I never know what date that is. Is that in September? Is it when is like we are so obsessed with talking weeks?
Yeah.
I don't even know why we're doing that. I wish we didn't. But that is
And
something I thought about as well. Like if you
and
come
then
like an
there's
expat,
Yeah. But then there's the other weird thing, which is when does your week start?
well, I would say Monday.
Yeah. And there are so many who have what do they do? They start their week on Sunday?
Who does that?
A lot of people. You can actually even in my calendar program on the computer, you can choose what day do you want to have a start of the week, Sunday or Monday. And I'm going, are you dumb? Of course it's Monday. It's like Sunday can't be the start of the week. That's the end of the week, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
maybe
there's a lot of these. Again, and I was at a crayfish party this weekend, and somebody said, "Oh, I wish that everybody on earth would speak the same language." And I said, "I actually don't. Because I don't think that we would I think that we would lose so much because there's a suitability to the language of a place. Language is born from a place.
yep.
So if everybody on the planet spoke the same language and we only had one language, it's like I think that we would be losing so much of that of the placeholder of language in a sense. And I actually think we already have lost a lot of the placeholder of a
Yeah,
place.
I agree.
Uh,
Esperanto was a good try to
or
not a
at
good
least a
try. It
try.
was a
Yeah,
try, yeah.
it was
But
a
there is
try.
actually one universal language, and that's mathematics, in a way.
Mhm. Mhm. True. Only I speak very poor mathematics.
So do I. But
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
maybe it's even like the universe language. I don't know, but mathematics is one. Maybe that's enough. We don't need more.
No, precisely. Yeah, but it's interesting, and I actually love this. I love the fact that at this crayfish party, I was having all of these deep and interesting conversations with people. And I love that that is possible. And I also was dancing like crazy, having the time of my life. And, but, and there were silly games and stuff as well. But that you can have these, you can kind of dip down into, I don't know, the center of a lake or, you know, in the middle of a deep well. You can access that whenever or wherever if you want to. I like that.
Yeah, perhaps. I'm just thinking dancing. Like, wow, that is one of the few things I can do. I shouldn't say you. Like, I don't know, but for me, it's one of the few occasions where you feel like complete and unattached joy in the moment.
Yeah.
That's what dancing is. You feel like
Yeah.
allow yourself to just like not think about. what you do with your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss that in a way. Yeah, maybe tonight I'll put on some music and dance with the kids and just go
Yeah.
off.
Do that.
I
That was
will.
one of the things that I did with my kids, or that we did with the kids, me and my ex-husband. Now and again we'd have disco night, and
Yeah.
you just go wild and crazy for an hour or something, and it's a blast.
You know what? I'm gonna do that tonight.
Good.
I have one of these light bulbs you can put in the kitchen lamp, and then it becomes all these disco lights everywhere.
Yeah,
And then
perfect.
put on some music. But we always end up arguing which music we should put on. Um,
So everybody gets to choose 2 or 3 songs, their favorite dance songs, and
yeah.
you make a playlist.
Or I just put on a playlist and hide the damn thing, and I don't know where it is. Let's
Well,
dance.
there's that. So, do you dance, or do you dance, Özlem?
Well, help me define what you mean by dance.
No, I don't want to. I want to ask a question like that.
Yes, I dance. I can move to the music. Yeah, I've been told having rhythm. So yes, I can like feel the rhythm, feel the beats, and adjust my body according to it. So yeah,
Have you ever taken any dance classes or anything?
no, not
Except for
really.
gymnastics in school or
No,
PE?
like Zumba at the gym or like funk or something like that. I used to go to the gym. I was like pretty much the only male person there with all these um, ladies dancing, and that was fun. And the instructor always came up to me and said, "You have to come next time because wherever it is, wherever you are, you're another male
Shows up.
shows up, the whole
Yeah.
atmosphere changes in a way. It
Yeah.
becomes more relaxed." And I don't know what she meant because I couldn't experience that without being there. But
Mm,
a few instructors actually said that,
mm,
which I thought was quite interesting. How one person can change the whole dynamics. In this case, it was a gender thing, I guess. I don't know if it was me as a person, but she said that, and she didn't mean me specifically. She meant whenever there's a male or men participating, then it becomes much more different in a way.
mm.
I thought it was interesting.
Mm. I was thinking, because just to get everybody on speed, our planned improv thing fell through last week or the week before because they said no, we don't want rookies. It's like, okay,
Exactly.
whatever. And I got a link to something else, Tisdagsklubben, I
Yeah, that's
think.
right.
And I've texted them, but I haven't received an answer back. So, with luck, there will be an improv before our final 5th conversation. Otherwise, we'll have to do a bonus conversation if it takes longer, right?
Yeah. But I have an
Um,
idea actually. Maybe we should find a drama teacher or something like that and arrange your own um, improv session. Maybe that could
that's
be a way as well. And then we can
yeah,
like invite
yeah,
the people we want to
yeah, yeah,
and then like and then we just share the cost. I don't know how much that would be,
yeah,
like 100
yeah,
crowns, 200, I don't know.
yeah,
And maybe like do it that way, like do
yeah.
like an evening
See if
with
you
people.
can find one. See if you can find one that's up for the challenge.
Yeah, we have like 100 meters from where I live, we have like
Yeah,
this irregular cultural house where you can do like where my daughters go to drama classes, dance classes, violin and cello classes, and there's everything there. So I'm going to ask one of those teachers there if they
yeah,
could
yeah.
think about it because maybe they know about it. Let me investigate, see what we could do, like do our own thing instead.
That's a good idea. And one of the things that I was thinking about is I've been dancing Lindy Hop or swing since I started.
This is so weird. I've been
What?
hearing about Lindy Hop like from three different persons,
Yeah,
people in the
because I
last
was
like
gonna
weeks.
say you should come and do the beginners. uh, You know, when they have social dancing, they have like a 45-minute beginner course, and then you're all set. You should totally come. It would be so cool because Lindy Hop is the most fun. I just I love the music. I love the dancing. It makes me happy. And I'm actually challenging myself this semester because There's always a weekly spot of social dancing um, that I almost never go to because then I'm sitting at home and it's evening and I would have to bike into town and no, it's more comfortable in the sofa or, I'm too tired, yada, yada, yada. Whereas if I've taken a course, if I've paid for a 10 session course,
Yeah,
I will
pressure.
go because
The,
then I've paid for it.
yeah, the positive pressure is on.
Yes, and I'm actually a little bit peeved at myself because of this. So I went with my sister to the last Dans på stranden, dance on the beach at Ribban, the beach in Malmö. In the summertime, they have Lindy Hop and there's tango and there's probably line dancing and I don't know what and this, that, and the other thing. Each have a weekday. So Sunday has been Lindy uh, dancing.
All right.
It's been
Oh,
all summer, and we had said that she would go with me, and we managed to do it on the last Sunday of the season.
how was it?
I loved it. It's just a reminder, and I didn't take any class in the spring, so last time I danced was probably November or something. And it just made me realize how much I love dancing. I love, you know, having fun at the crayfish party dance floor as well, right? And dancing to disco music and whatnot. But I love Lindy. I love the music. I love the dancing. I love the movement. I just get so filled up with joy. It is such a thrilling experience.
Mm. Yep.
So why am I not doing this? Why am I I'm not doing the social dances? So I've actually challenged myself. I've not signed up for any course for the fall, but I intend to do at least 10 social dancing sessions
In the
because
if
I
in the
want
fall,
to in the fall. Yeah.
that's like if you do one a week, that's 10 weeks.
Yeah. Which is what I would have signed up for if I'd taken a course. So
Good.
yeah,
That's
I'm I'm
awesome. Go for it.
yeah, and it's like I want, I want to go because I want to go. I don't want to go because I've paid money for it. I want to go because it fills me up. It fills me with joy. It thrills me. It gives me great exercise. I laugh like crazy because I always get something wrong or I learn something new. You know, it's it's such a thrill and such a treat. And I'm bad at giving myself that treat if I haven't paid for it. It's like, okay, I wanna shift that around for me this semester.
But is Lindy Hop a pair dancing?
It is a pair dancing. You can do solo dancing as well, but basically it's a pair dancing.
Okay.
But you don't have to bring a partner um, because the culture of this place is that you go and you ask somebody to dance. And if they say yes, you dance. And if they say, if you enjoy it, maybe you'll dance another song. And if they say no, it's probably because they've been dancing like crazy and they're really tired
Mm.
or, they need a break and you just go and ask the next one. So it's a really good uh, culture.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, my wife's been talking about it, so maybe I'll surprise her.
Join,
Um,
come.
and and also I might have some um, going on a limb here, but I guess there is more women than men there. So if I show up, then it wouldn't be
Actually,
hard to find a partner, I guess.
no, it wouldn't be hard to find a partner, but it's
Yeah.
not always like that,
Cool. Cool.
actually.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that in the fall now that they were lacking um, followers, which is then so there's the lead and the follow. So and you
Mm.
can, there's lots of both men and women dancing Lindy who can do both lead and follow.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily know that it's one or the other. So I've been planning on retaking the lesson, retaking the courses, but going as a lead instead of as a follow, so that I
Cool.
will be able to dance regardless if there's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever is needed in the moment.
I'm gonna think about it. I actually like dancing on my own in a way.
So
Uh,
this is the thing, though. This is
but
the
you can
thing
do
about
that. Yeah.
Lindy Hop. Not even you can do that, but you are. Lindy Hop is a dance where there's two people dancing usually, but as a follower, you can't say it's on the lead. You know, it's me. Each of the people doing the dancing has to take responsibility for their own dancing, for their own stuff. So, yes, as a follower, you're to follow the lead, except when you don't want to, except when you feel like doing something else, except when you feel like taking the lead, except when you feel like, no, I want to do a solo thing right here. So it is a very dynamic dance, I would say. And I really, really enjoy that. So I would challenge you to try it out because it's more fun than a lot of dances where it's so strict,
Yeah.
where it's like this is how you do it. And it's like, no,
That's good.
that's not Lindy Hop. It's like, yeah, there are moves, there are things, the basic thing is you need to have the rhythm. If you've got the rhythm, you're good to go.
Yep.
Uh, so and then you can so it's a very playful. It's a lot like improv. It's a lot like improv when you do Lindy Hop. And I wonder if that's why I so like it. Plus it
Yeah.
just looks so cool. Yeah. Okay, I've sold you or I've tried to sell it to you now, so we'll see. But I would love for you and your wife to come join at one of these social gatherings where there's beginners.
I'm gonna look
Uh,
into it afterwards.
yeah, do.
See if there's anything here.
I'll send you some links. Yeah, I don't know if there is anything. I know there's in Lund and in Malmö. Um,
Yeah, but that works.
yeah,
Not that far.
no, it's not. So yeah, we'll see. But there's also one more thing about dancing because I've been using dancing as a metaphor for a way of being in life for quite a long while. I had a coach, uh 2014, 15, and she used to say, dance with whatever comes knocking on the door.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is. So I have been using dance as a metaphor, as an inspiration, as an intention. How do I want to show up in life? Well, dancing, you know, because there is the rhythm, there is the, going with the flow of things, there is the following in the lead, or the I'm totally doing this on my own thing. So you can have there's so much. And then if I'm dancing with somebody and they do something surprising, what do I do? Do I like get offended and say, no, you're not supposed to do that? Or do I go, oh my God, what are you doing? This is so much fun. Um, so I like dancing as a metaphor for life.
That's really good. I might steal that. It's really,
Do
really good.
yeah,
How can we dance more in life?
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So how have you been? What you been up to?
I have I've been working. I have done a book launch party for my book that I released 1.5 years ago, but never did a launch party for. Um, I have been picking blackberries and raspberries and wild strawberries and stuff. I have had 1 week of vacation, which I realized this year was a little bit too little, but I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Um, and I've been on a retreat. I went to a twilight retreat. Uh,
Twilight retreat?
yeah,
Oh, do tell more. What's that?
twilight retreat. Well, the twilight retreat was held by two women, Rebecca Tiger and Jannica Honey, two Swedish, quite fascinating, interesting women. And there were 16 attendees, the two retreat leaders, and they had two assistants as well, Anna and Ellen. And we were at this gorgeous place out in Österlen, Fiskabäck, close to Brösarp, for Thursday night until Sunday afternoon. And we were talking and reflecting and sharing and doing. We did a drum travel and we had different types of ceremonies. And we had a couple of photo sessions, very special photo sessions. And it was a very, very powerful experience for me because I got, well, speaking about that, the placeholders and like roots, it's like that's what I felt like I was given. I I I put down deeper roots during this retreat, kind of in me, however weird that sounds, but it was like feeling really, really grounded.
Mm.
Um, yeah. And, it's like it was kind of as woo woo as it sounds,
Yeah.
but it was really, really powerful. Uh, so I'm very, very happy that I did that.
So what was the best thing about it?
The best thing about it was that I've been in therapy for almost 2 years now, this round. 2 years? 3 years? 2 years? 2 years. And one of the things that I'm working on is this fact that I can sometimes, let's put it this way, I can sometimes dance more with life inside of my brain and not let it out into my body, which is why we are going to do improv,
Yeah.
right? So that thing, that kind of mental vice on me, I got both new insight into that during this retreat, but I also were able to let go of oops, wait. I was also able to let go of kind of part of my attachments to it, part of the, because it's a mental vice that I'm helping to keep it in place, right? By my beliefs, by my actions, by my non-actions. So I was able to let go of of um, of some of those things that make me cling to it during a couple of different exercises or whatever you should call that we did.
So what happens to you when Helena lets go?
So when when I let go of that mental vice, I do dance more with life. I do. I feel more, I live more, I love more, I sense more. Everything gets to be more rich somehow,
Mm.
be it flavors or touch or colors or sounds or it's like everything is richer, deeper, uh more satiated. Um and the Helena that holds on, the part of me that holds on to this, gets a little bit jittery. Uh, uh, you know, nervous for fear of what might happen if untethered Helena is let loose to dance however she wants to. So there are both of those. Or there's probably more, but those are like the two. When you ask that question, those two come up.
Mhm.
The oh my God, there's a lot of abundance and it's all there for the taking or the having or the experiencing. And then the one that's losing its grip says, oh no, that's dangerous. Shit, you need to hold on tighter. And you go, no, actually, it's time to let go. Um, but I can hold you instead. Kind of. So
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
working that um that relationship in a sense.
So when all this happens, like who do you become? Like who are you? How would you like describe yourself?
So I get to be, or I am then everything. I am force, I am light, and I am also dark. I can be deep, I can also be shallow. I get to to I get to use discernment in the moment, kind of unencumbered without restraints from the little scared Helena who says, no, 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 you can't do that. It's like, if I let go of that one, me, like big self me or big soul me or whatever, can use discernment and say, this is what's appropriate, needed, required, desired, right for this moment or not. So I get to I get to dance with life fuller, more fully. And I don't, yeah, it's like I don't, I let go of the shackles, be that keeping myself quiet, keeping me still, keeping me intellectual, mm, the different ways that I have of like, controlling me, containing me.
Mhm.
I let go of those restraints, which does not mean necessarily total mayhem,
Yeah.
but it can mean total mayhem if that's what the situation calls for, right?
But the other part of you thinks it's a total mayhem, right? The one that doesn't want to let go.
Yes, yes, yes. The other one thinks all of that will be total mayhem, regardless. It's like, no, there is no discernment there if I don't keep you restrained. It's like, actually, there can't be any discernment if you're keeping me restrained because I need to be able to move in order to use my discernment.
Mhm.
Should I? Shouldn't I? Do I want to? Don't I want to? if there's not room for that, then that's just half life.
So what's the key for you to open that door more often?
I think these two. I think the yes and the root of improv and the thinking of how to dance is two of the keys for
Mhm.
me for that. It's also like reminding myself, anchoring in me moments where I have let go. And it turns out just great.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
haven't died. The sky hasn't fallen down. The earth hasn't opened underneath me. None of that, but rather, that actually went really well.
Yeah. So,
Um,
the improv and the Lindy Hop thing, that's like external keys. And then what you just said now, that's more like internal keys. And it's, I think the internal keys are more accessible than we think sometimes, but we go for the external keys
yeah.
because maybe we don't know or want to use internal keys in a way.
Yeah, and I don't think it's as talked about or, it's shown to us. And it's not as easily seen.
Mm.
So I can't see your internal keys because they're rolling around inside of your body, but I can see if you're doing improv, or I can hear you're doing improv if you say yes and. But it's like, so we're kind of primed for the external factors, I think. Um because the internal ones are internal, which also means that whenever I compare someone who looks successful, I'm comparing kind of my inside to their outside
Mm.
because I can't see their inside.
No. And I think you're on to realize something interesting there when it comes to like, like social media, where you always portray yourself from your best side, and then people compare everyone else's best side with their own side, and that's an unfair challenge. It's an unfair game. Like you're bound to lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just saw the connection. Sorry,
Yeah.
we
No,
didn't talk
I'm
about it.
not sorry. I think I've mentioned this before sometime in the pod. There's a woman that I follow on Instagram. I think her name is Dana E. Mercer or something. She's I think she still is a model of some sort, and she was a model, with severe eating disorders and all of that shit, which kind of is something you have to do. But she's so cool because she knows the tricks of the trade. So she does a lot of her Instagram posts are when you see somebody posing like this and they look all,
Uh,
perfect and there's no thingy, this is how they do that. They and she kind of shows how they get into that pose. You can see how utterly artificial it is. Um, and then she, jiggles her thighs or bounces around so that everything is like jumping. She says, "This is life. This is what people look like. It
yeah,
isn't bad, wrong, ugly. It is life." Um, and I keep on following her. I've probably followed her for a year or something because it's a great reminder of just that. It's a great reminder of what I see is curated in some way.
yeah,
And just to be aware of that there is something behind the curation. There's something behind uh, the pose that is also, it's important not to let go of that one. It's important to remember that one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm gonna share something that happened when I was at this party. Um,
Please
and
do.
I might
It's just you
regret
and me.
it.
It's just you and
Yeah,
me. So please do.
precisely. Precisely. It's like you might regret it too. But so I was
Either you brought something for the buffet table or you brought a surprise. You did something, a game or a song or
Wow.
whatever you wanted, right? And then I thought, oh, I'm going to bring something to the buffet table. It's easier. And then I thought, no, I won't. And my friend who hosted the party challenged me when I said, I'll bring a surprise, challenged me and said, you know that you've been writing those. I've been writing a little bit, a very, very little bit of erotica. Uh, precisely. She said, could you read one of those? And I went, ugh. Okay, sure. Dance with whatever comes knocking on the door, right?
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked through the pieces and it's just a handful. I'm not, I've written a lot, but I haven't written anything that's fiction, really, or anything that's experienced that way. It's like I write about ponderings and life and stuff, but this is like it's tricky for me. So I've only written 5 or 6 pieces or something. But so I looked them over and I picked one that I thought this one is appropriate enough. Let's put it that way. So what I write is very much the beginning. It's like the beginning of how you get the juices flowing, not we're right smack in the middle of everything and everything is happening at once. Not that part. I haven't gotten that far yet. So it's gentle, it's sensual, and it's kind of, there's teasing and,
Yeah.
a lot of fantasy. So it's not explicit, it's not overly sexual or anything
It's
because I
like the beginning of when the lust starts arising.
precisely,
Like,
it's that the
yep.
bubbles when they start to go, like, and I haven't written anything like this for over a year and a half or something. So I will, but I picked a piece that uh, is about going into the shower in cold water, not warm water, and I've written about this. And so I brought this. I printed it out and I brought it with me. And I saw when I arrived at the party that, well, it has to get dark outside first because we can't do this when it's light out. That just feels weird. But then after dinner, when everybody was, people were separating out into the garden and the house and stuff, and it was like, oh, but maybe now it's too late because now everybody is like scattered all over. So I talked to my friend and said, or rather, my friend said, do you want me to gather everybody? And I was like, yes, would you please do that? So my friend walked around to everybody and said, there's a new surprise coming. So would you please go back to the tables and sit down? And I was introduced, and then I stood up and I said that I've not I've never read anything of this out loud before. I've hardly written this stuff that I'm about to read for you. I've written a lot, but not this. But here goes. And so I read. And it's not a very long piece, but it probably took 4 or 5 minutes maybe.
Mm. Yep.
So, or at least it felt like that. I don't know, but it felt like that. And I was, I was reading, but I was also looking up and meeting people's eyes, and people were meeting me with their eyes. They weren't looking away or anything, except for the people who were sitting there with closed eyes. And you could see, or I could see that they were just taking it in.
Mm.
They were just, like hearing the words come into them. And then I finished the piece and silence. And then somebody said, wow, that was fantastic. And then a little conversation arose. People were asking me questions about my writing and where can we find your writing, and have you written any books, and do you work with words? And it's like stuff like that. And then it was like, okay, no, it's done. Now I can sit down and we can continue partying. But it was such a fascinating thing to do. Also because it invited people to come talk to me afterwards and share, their reflection. What did that feel like? And how, you know, it just turned out so well. It's like, oh, you're so brave. And it's like, yeah, well, the thing about it is this is part of me dancing with life.
Yeah.
This is part of me owning that side of me, the side of me that has lust, the side of me that is sensual and that wants the sensual, um, in a way that I haven't before.
Mm.
So I'm like, it's super interesting to kind of think back on that experience and how it just it turned out so good. It was just right for that moment, in that time, in that space. It just, yeah, it was beautiful.
Sounds like magical.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of stories that you probably told there, I think they are maybe needed more than ever
Yeah.
because um, when I grew up, when I was like a young man, um, there were stories like that floating around because porn wasn't that accessible in a way. And I learned a lot of from those kind of stories
Yeah.
when I read them when I was like sort of discovering my sexuality. But today, since the other aspect, like porn, is accessible, people like young people think that that's what it's all about. But it's actually what you just said that you read that is what's needed and what should be
Yes.
discovered rather than the other thing that is just the very ending of the whole erotic journey in a way. But it's not even erotic in a way. It's not passionate. It's just I don't know what it is. But I think young people need those kind of things more than ever because they are sort of locked away now because the accessibility of porn, which is sad in a way. People can discover the magic, the lust rising between two people or in your own mind, whatever you want to call it. So I think we should explore this further.
Yeah, and I will. I started to write this because a very dear friend of mine challenged me a couple of years ago. She said, "You should start writing erotica." And I went, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, I really think you do. As a way to, like another friend said, as a way to find what is interesting to me. Where do I go? Ooh, that one. It's like,
Yeah.
what happens in me? Because I haven't explored that a lot. Definitely not enough, if there can be an enough.
Yeah.
And so it was like, oh my God, how do I do this? And then when I did start to write, because I've written one piece where about me going out in the front of my house picking blackberries from the brambles on in my garden. That story is sensual. And it's like, okay, maybe, so that was like my first, before I dared actually do more. It's like, okay. So I've been playing with this. I played with it for a year or so. Like I said, I haven't written anything for the better
part of a year or year and a half. But it's an interesting way to see that I am very much in that the the initial awakening of the lust, awakening
Yeah.
of the desire, the wanting, that part, um, which is reflected in how I write.
Yeah.
And I so enjoy that. And then it's like I've written most of these pieces I've written in English, which
Okay.
is also I do write mostly in English, but I realize that body parts and caresses and what you do with a body, I can have the word in Swedish, but how will I say this in English? So there's one of those aspects where I see that there's a dance just between the two languages,
Yeah.
within me. So it is fun, and I will be exploring it more. And I've been like, how do I do this? And then what do I do with it? Because I know that I write more for me when I also publish somewhere so that I can get feedback.
Yeah.
That's why I've been blogging for 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. 2012 is when I started. Um, so it's like, but I can't do this here. So I've actually started an anonymous blog where I've put up these pieces. And it's like, yeah, I'm doing a really shitty job keeping that blog anonymous because I talk to people about it. So I'm like, I'm really bad at this stuff. Um, but it's been fun to try to do this. And I mean, it's also one of the things. It makes me realize that I can get really turned on by words.
Yeah.
I get more turned on by words than by watching something, a
Mm-hmm.
video. I get more turned on by the words that I either, read to me or that I read myself. Um, so hence, yeah, writing seems like a good fit. Um,
Well, like I said, it's needed more than ever, and I really like the idea that you discover sensuality in just picking blackberries, because that is what life is about. But sometimes we don't think that. So I think we could just like sort of open up that door and experience that as well, and not just what we sort of surrender to because it's more accessible, or I don't know. And I'm thinking like anonymous blog, yeah, that's cool, but maybe you could write something for like something like Kamratpost then. If I
does it
don't.
still exist?
Oh yes, it
Oh,
does.
yes. Okay. Now you have to explain to everybody who's not Swedish, you have to explain what Kamratposten is.
Well, when I grew up, there was this magazine, you could say, which was targeted to young people, early teens or teenagers, and they write about everything. It could be about your fears. It could be about like people being mean to you. It could be about sexuality, everything that pops into the minds of
Young
preteens
people.
or young people. And obviously, they also have sections there that's about sexuality, and they write it in a really, really good way. And my daughters, 9 and 11, they read it, and some parents might think, "Wow, how can you allow them to that?" But they will discover that anyway. So why not just like, rather than avoiding them to jump into the pool, why don't they learn how to swim instead, in a way? So they are asking questions, and I think that should be discussed. That doesn't mean they're just exploring the curiosity, which they should. And it's a brilliant kind of a magazine. It still exists. Like I used to read that. What is it, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, in a way, and it still exists, and it's still as good as it always has been. So yeah, it still exists.
Cool.
In a way, I don't know if I summed it up in a good way.
Yeah, I think you
Did
did.
you?
There's probably, yeah, I also had Kamratposten when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Um,
and that
so
was like the door to all your unanswered questions
yeah,
or discovering
yes,
new questions,
yeah,
um, but in a good way.
yeah.
In a, I like it, and
Yeah,
I
and I
don't.
mean, I would say that it's one of those, or at least when I was small, my experiences of it was that it was a way where, as a kid, you could get answers to your questions from
Yeah,
adults
yeah,
who did not talk down to you. They didn't
exactly,
make it silly or, oh, I need to do this in a kid way because you're just a kid, so you won't understand if I talk to you
exactly.
openly, honestly, as a human. But that's what they do. They do kind of, this is, we're speaking to you as humans. Yes, you might be a bit younger, but um it's not belittling, or it wasn't belittling. I didn't experience it as
No,
belittling at all.
and I think it's good. Me personally, as a parent, think it's good that they read that and see, like I said before, a different angle to sexuality and sex, besides what they probably discover pretty soon, which is porn.
Yeah.
In a way, like if you give them a phone in their hand, you
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
tools, but you can't stop them. So
Yeah.
I want them to give an alternative to that
Yeah.
in a way. So I don't mind it. Like I could like, how should I say, protect them from it. But I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest.
No.
Like it's better for them to, through words, um, reading it in a healthy way. And I'm saying that it's a very important part of life, your sexuality. It is.
Mm.
And that, yeah, I want to give them the best circumstances I can. And I try to
Mm.
talk to them, and they opening up more and more, obviously, to that, in a way. So,
So,
yeah.
did you ever have these types of conversations with your parents?
Oh, no.
Oh no.
No, not with a Kurdish mom and dad, and like from that kind of part of society. No, that was where I discovered things, um, and I'm really really happy about it. And then obviously I was introduced to porn as well, but then I'd seen this before, and this where Kamal Postan is where I got my influences. So that was good because then I could say, nah, that's not the only way, and it was good. So no, I did definitely not talk to my parents about that.
Mm.
And I still couldn't do that, to be honest.
Mm. So that begs the question, is there anything that you think that your kids say, oh no, dad never spoke about that, and we could never speak to him about that? What that would be? Is there anything like that, you think?
No, not that I know of, but it would be interesting to ask them when they're grown-ups. Was there any conversation that you missed? But I tell them pretty much every day that I love them. And the other day I called one of my daughters over and said, "Hey, can I tell you something?" "Yes, Dad, we know you love us." I'm like, "Yep, check, mission accomplished." I, I spoke to my oldest daughter the other day that she we came into the discussion of sexuality, and I said, "You know that me and your mom, you're having sex regularly." "You, Dad, I don't want to talk about it." I'm like, "Why not? It's a way of us showing each other that we love each other in fiction. So it's a beautiful thing." Uh, and she said, "Okay, yeah." And she's sort of like, even though she didn't want to admit it, she understood what I meant in a way. So for them to feel like it's something that we still do and we really care about, in case they walk in on us one day or something like that, I want to have the conversation prior to them walking in rather than
Yeah.
afterwards. In a
After,
way,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, talk about death, obviously, like yeah, grandma, and grandpa getting older. We should treasure them while they're here because it's not a guarantee. And then, like, will you die?
Well,
Hope.
it is a guarantee that
Well,
they
it is
won't be
guaranteed.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not if, it's rather
Forever. Yeah.
when. And then,
Yeah.
will you die that? I will one day, but hopefully it's when you are like as old as I am, and grandpa, grandma are old as they are. Um, I think you should. It's part of life, right? So why hide it away, lock it away, and make a big drama about it? Because it's inevitable in a way.
I'm I have just started to read a book that's called Parable of the Sower, which is written by Octavia E. Butler, African American author who wrote two or three books of the Parable series of the Earth Link series or something. That is, I think they get to be somehow science fiction or fantasy soon, but not really yet. But she died quite young. Butler, I understood, and these books were written, I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, something like that. But I've just started to read the first one, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And it's set in basically, it's set in 2024, 2025, and onwards. And it is a fairly dystopian portrayal of the world today that she imagined 20 years ago.
Oh, cool.
That is, there's a little bit too much similarities with what's going on for it to feel quite comfortable, even though it hasn't gone as far as what she's pointing to in this book, in this fiction book. But one of the things that they have is it is a lack of water, a lack of electricity, a breaking down of the structures of society and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so it's like people have to fend for themselves. So they live in a kind of a cul-de-sac, a dead end road with houses. And so these houses, they've come together and built a wall around their little piece so that they within that can feel fairly safe, and then you risk your life when you go outside of the wall, and then people come and kind of gate crash and steal stuff and kill. There was a stray bullet that shot a kid, or stuff like that. So I would say that there's probably people around right now who live kind of like that in similar settings. But the protagonist of the story is a 15-year-old girl that has a conversation with her friend about it's really bad, you know. So what this protagonist is doing, she's reading and learning as much as you can to prepare for when it will be even worse. So she has a dad who has lots of books. So she's reading on, what's the native uh, plants around that you can eat or that you can,
Mm.
can you make clothes from them? Can you make bread from them? What's medicine, what's plant medicine that's local to here? How do you build a fire? How do you
Yeah. That's
take shelter?
survival.
Survival skills, right? So
Yeah.
she's reading up on all of this, and she has a friend who she then talks to about this, and her friend goes, no, but we can't do anything. And she's like, yeah, that's actually what we can do. We can prepare. And I posted today on Tankesbjörn's the Instagram account a quote from this. So I'll read it.
Mm.
And so the protagonist says, when her friend says, but what can we do? We're just 15, right? We're just kids. There's nothing we can do. And she says, we can get ready. That's what we've got to do now. Get ready for what's going to happen. Get ready to survive it. Get ready to make a life afterward. Get focused on arranging to survive so that we can do more than just get battered around by crazy people, desperate people, thugs and leaders who don't know what they're doing. Um, and this is kind of this is the life and death type version of it. But I was thinking about when it ties into what we're talking about what do you talk to with your kids, what don't you talk to with your kids, and can you again prepare them for the life that is here and that will come. Yes, daddy will die someday. Yes, there is sex around. uh,
Mm.
all of these things, right? So it is a way, because the girl in the book, she gets her friend rattles to her mom, and then her mom talks to her dad, and then her dad says, "Hey, you're not, you shouldn't talk about stuff like that because it just scares people." And she's like, "But it might prepare people. It might help people get prepared."
Mm.
Um, so it's I think it's interesting, this notion of let's not talk about it. Let's stick our head in the sand. Let's pretend it isn't here. Let's not look at it. Let's not mention it. It's like, don't mention the war type of thing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it is so prevalent. And I wonder about that. I wonder if that is that a survival instinct that's kind of gone wrong? Or is it culture? Is it a normative behavior?
Well, let's just, why do we have, for whose sake do we have that behavior? Like, why don't we talk about these things? I think it's about us and not them in a way. And like, it's too conflicting, too painful, too unsure how to handle it yourself. So that's why you don't talk about it. It's not about protecting. Well, I don't think it's about protecting the other person. It's about you not knowing how we should have the conversation. It's too awkward, it's too uncomfortable. And then we don't do it. That's what I think. That doesn't mean that it's a fact, but that's the way I see it. Like, we don't have the conversation because we don't know how to have them. It's not about how it should land. It's about how it should take off.
Yeah, yeah. I don't dare. Which again comes back to this dancing with life thing.
Yeah.
Um, right? Do I let myself try this dance move or not? No, it's like I'm probably gonna fail, or people will think I look ridiculous, or I might
Yeah.
fall and break my bone. Um,
And you reading your literature, was that about you don't want to do it, or was it about you thinking that they don't want to listen to it?
yeah.
I don't know. It sounded like it was more internal from you being unsure if you should read it and how it would land.
Yeah, because I wasn't. Um, it's like I've been. If this was the first time I've ever stood up and read something of mine, I would not have read erotica. It's like, for sure. It's like,
Yeah.
no, that would not have
That
happened
would be
at
too
all.
far.
That would be too far.
Yeah.
As it is, I give trainings.
Yeah.
I've read my blog posts as a in the podcast. I stand up and speak. Um, I've been moderating a TEDx. It's like I'm not I'm not a stranger to being
No.
on stage that way. Um, so it wasn't so much, can I do it or dare I do it, but it was the twofold fear of what will people think of me and will I make people uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Those were the two fears.
Yeah.
Um, and it turns out people think extremely highly of me for doing that and doing it
Yeah.
the way that I did it. And no, I did not make people uncomfortable, at least not the people who came to me. And I don't think that anybody was really made uncomfortable because I didn't pick up that energy.
Yeah.
It was a very, there were good vibes.
Yeah.
As I was
Absolutely.
reading this, there
Yeah.
were good vibes in this little congregation of sorts.
But it comes back to tell me again, what was the two things you said? What people would think of you, and
Will I make them uncomfortable?
yeah, and I've said it. I think I've said it in the previous conversations we had, but those are the two best things about getting older. That the impact of them diminishes more and more the older you get, and that's what I love about getting older because you care less and less. And I wish the shackles weren't as strong when I was younger as they are, as weak as they are now, in a way. And I think some good good impacts of our psychic, our well-being, our mental well-being, comes from those two things that you just said. That we care too
Yeah,
much, that we don't
yeah,
unleash
yeah,
ourselves in a way.
exactly.
So good on you that you're there and can do
Yeah,
this, and not let it control you. You take the
yeah,
fight because
yeah,
in a way. But I just want to say that that's beautiful in a way that you could overcome that because that is so captivating. Captivating in the sense that it captivates you from unleashing yourself and just right there and then feeling so much alive. Like I could see in your eyes the way you told the story. You felt that you were there right now when you told the story in a
yeah,
way, and
yeah,
you danced
yeah,
right there and then.
yeah, yeah. And it's like that's 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 one of those moments, one of those instances that I anchor, that I want to remember. I want to remember the feeling of it. I want to remember the little bits of jittery pulse standing up and going, oh my God, should I tell this? Should I read this? Or should I tell the story of Pop the cat who was in Babystrand, which where this was? And, it's like,
Yeah.
no, I will do this. So again, it is really you know, taking that thing that comes knocking on the door
Yeah.
up for the invite to dance.
And those are the moments where you really, really feel alive and in the present. And
Yeah.
it's fascinating that we are so unskilled in living in the present because that's the only moment we can influence. It's right here, right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it takes so much to just be focused on I am present right here. Because usually we go around thinking what happened or what's going to happen. But you cherish, and those things just become like a big mental checkpoints where you can like think
Yeah.
about when you were present, because that's all it's about when you say that it's you being present and fully aware of what's happening right there around you. That was
Yeah.
magical. So
And I think that's what makes picking blackberries on the brambles along the side of
yes,
my garden is also why that can be such a sensual experience, because I'm there. I walk barefoot on the rocks. I feel the blackberries and there's a
exactly.
sting, and then I put one in my mouth and it just explodes in this juicy, sweet, sun warmed deliciousness. It's like
Yeah,
there's it
exactly.
is so, in a sense, that thing, that life force, that sexual energy, which I think is what life force is, at least in part, it's there everywhere, all the time, always and already there.
Yeah,
But am I hooked up to it? Am I connected to it?
exactly.
Am I open to receiving it, to expressing it, to feel it, or not?
Yeah, it's a way
Oh,
of um, it's a way of caressing yourself, but with other senses, and not
yeah,
just with your libido system in a way,
yeah,
like you,
yeah,
the way the blackberries taste with the sunlight, and like it's yeah, that could totally be erotic if you
yeah,
are channeling it in that direction
yeah,
in a way. And I think that's beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Life gets to be quite delicious when you walk around in the world like that, um,
Yeah,
because it gets to be, there's more fun. There is more movement. There is more laughter. There is more. It's like hooking up to the abundance that is the abundance of like blackberries. And we've had such a wonderful summer. So the blackberries this year are something extra. They are extra sweet this year because it's been just perfect sun for them. So it's like, they're really.
Yeah. You could go and just
Um,
eat them because you want to fill your belly with them, like consume them, or you can just enjoy them.
yeah.
And those two things are not exactly the same thing, like
No.
eating and enjoying. And sometimes, like life makes us eat and we forget to enjoy.
And that's a good reminder for me because I think I can eat a lot of the food I eat.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy. And I will go and make me some brunch after this call, and I will see if I can enjoy and really like taste and texture and is it cold or is it warm? And what's the flavor and what's the colors and what does it smell like?
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe that's a new novel.
Maybe that's a new one. Who knows? Yeah, precisely. Well, maybe that's a good place to wrap.
I think so.
And then everybody can kind of imagine what's going to go happen here when we finish this. But it's like the invite for that is always there.
Mhm.
It is always and already there. I don't have to go find it. I don't have to make it happen. I just have to kind of open up to what is.
And exactly what I meant with external and internal keys.
Yeah.
You can make it happen also by going to Lindy Hop and to improv,
Yeah.
obviously, but you can also find it around you.
Yeah.
And one doesn't have to be on the sacraries of the other. You can do both, but we sometimes
Yeah.
forget that we can actually, with our internal keys, open up that door as well. In a way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
use both keys.
I
That's what I'm going to take
will,
with me.
and you will,
Yes, obviously.
and we will. Great, Özlem. Well, I wish you have a really, really lovely day where you open up some of these keys to
Likewise,
see
Helena.
what's there. Yeah. Thank you for today.
Thank you.
See you
See
around
you.
for our
Likewise.
5th conversation. And there will also be, I will be sending out a doodle for the group conversation that I also always do at the end of the season with everybody, if we can get
Yep.
everybody. Otherwise, it'll be. So there will be 2 more for sure.
Yep. And then you said
Okay.
something about a Lindy Hop gathering as well.
I will send you info on that as well. Yes. Make a
Perfect. You're
great
awesome.
day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
In this conversation, I share a little, or rather, I mentioned to Özlem that I did a book launch for the book that I wrote and released more than a year ago, but it never got a book launch then or a party. So that's what we had in July. But it's called Doing Gentle with an Edge. And one of the chapters actually speaks about dancing. I dance walk when I'm out and about. And the thing about the ease with which dancing or singing for that matter can be a way for me to let go of the mental vice that keeps me quite tightly bound or has kept me quite tightly bound
is that I kind of have an alibi in the music. So that's what that chapter is about. Do check it out. You will find the book on Amazon, but also as both an ebook and an audiobook on tankesbjörn.com. So go check it out, please.